Welcome to, you're finally on the Lessons of a Lashpreneur show, Dreama. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
All right, so kind of give the listeners just a heads up of who you are, what your business is. Yeah.
All right. My name is Dreama-Destiny Hart. I have been doing lashes since 2018 and started bringing on employees in 2019. I am located in Leonardtown, Maryland, which is also known as Southern Maryland. And yeah.
And how many team members do you have currently?
Oh, I have 4 team members.
All right, so just as a summary of the timeline, you started lashing in 2018. Yeah. 2019, you started experimenting with bringing on team, right? Mm-hmm. And in our pre-interview, you talked about that. That was contractors, right? Like independent contractor. Cool.
Yes.
Then in 2021 is when you actually started doing W-2 employees. And so from 2021 till basically now, January-ish 2023, you have 4 team members.
Yes.
Now, Dreama, are you in the treatment room anymore?
No.
Yay. And what else significant may or may not have happened in the last year that is also of note?
I also had my 4th child.
4th child!
Yes.
Not only were you growing a business, you were growing babies too, right? And so that to show what's possible, because I do feel like, and I've definitely operated under this belief myself, is like, sometimes you have to choose one or the other, or you can't do both. Now, it is a lot to take on, and I think you'll be the first to be like, maybe don't. But also that when you have a really clear vision and what you want to create and what you want to build, it's just kind of life, right? Your business just becomes a part of your life. Your life becomes a part of your business, and us women are spaghetti. It all kind of meshes together. And so kind of talk to me about, so for context, Dreama has been a part of the Lashpreneur Society for years. I mean, you've been around a long time. And you were one of the first people we got into Society Xcelerator. Talk to me about what's about the accelerator, because you already had a team at that point, but what was it about the accelerator that really showed you or gave you hope that things might get a little bit simpler?
Understanding the financials. That is something I didn't always have a lot of insight on. I kind of just was like, oh, this looks like a good thing to do. I should do it. And instead of looking back and being like, can I afford to do that? Is that a good move? So I definitely gained a lot of clarity on that part.
Okay, so how can you get specific on getting clarity?
Yes, so I gained clarity on like if I was spending too much in some places, what expenses were, if I was just spending to spend. But I also gained clarity on things that were working for my business and things that weren't. So if I saw after doing some of the annual profit and loss thing, going back each month and seeing, oh, we had higher sales this month. Well, what did we do that month that helped us get higher sales? And then going, oh, our sales went down this month. Like, what did we do that contributed to that? And that has helped me move forward in my business to kind of plan ahead and be like, what happened? And like you say, a lot of the time is get curious. So every time I have a question, I'm like, let's get curious. What was it? And I'll go back now and just write down, like go through the months, be like, okay, we did this, we did that. We didn't do that, but maybe that's something we thought about doing it, something you should try.
That's so, I mean, I love you have a spreadsheet that you'll go through in the Society Xcelerator that starts to map all of this out. And usually we recommend people have some sort of accounting and bookkeeping going on to make that filling out the spreadsheet easier. But if you don't, it's cool. But I love that because I remember specifically in November, I think sales were dropping and you kind of freaked out a little bit, right? It was like, Wah! And I think that was where we had that conversation of getting curious as opposed to the meaning we were placing on, numbers don't look the same. And I think if I remember, it was November, you had a big kind of aha. Can you kind of share how you approached what that conversation was? I can't remember the specifics, but you probably do.
So actually in November, we were losing a team member. She unfortunately had to step away from doing lashes because of family issues. So then that made me panic that we were losing a team member. I was also had 2 other team members that were part-time, and at the time they neither one were able to come on full time. So I completely panicked and was like, oh my God, the business is going to fall apart. What am I going to do? I should just hire. And I knew I couldn't just hire to hire. But I also knew I couldn't just hire someone right that day to fix the solution.
Yes.
Um, yeah. And I remember on our call, um, we kind of took the emotion out of it and was like, what can we do right now that's going to help come to the best solution? And we just did a serious brain dump of different possible outcomes and solutions and what they would lead to. And that actually helped me a lot take out the emotion, because I'm a very emotional person. I get like everything comes back to me and I'm like, oh, I did this, it's my fault, when I didn't do anything. Like I couldn't control.
For a team member to leave. Like,
Yeah, I can't control that. So we kind of just like figured out what I can control and what I can do to move forward.
amazing. Now I remember that conversation. Yeah, because when we look at, I forgot how much I do this. When we look at it as the data instead of the meaning that we place on the data, it's like a team member is putting in their resignation or a team member just straight up quits. It can be one or the other.
Right.
And then what can ensue is the panic of what long-term that's going to look like. She's generating a certain amount of sales each month. And if we remove her, then where did those sales go? And that's where the panic can start to set in. And oh my God, and the fear and the loss of sales or clients, or oftentimes what happens when the business owner is still in the treatment room, I'm going to work more, right, to take on those clients so we don't dip sales. But ultimately, I think part of what the program helps with the accountability of like, don't you dare get back in that treatment room. Because I think that was one of the things we said is Dreama can go take those clients. Was that not one of the ideas we brain dumped?
It was one of the ideas. And I was like, I don't want to do that.
And it's like, it doesn't have to be. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And that's what's cool about in the accelerator, we have weekly coaching calls as a group. And so we can come in and have this brain dump of ideas. So I like to take all of the meaning off of any potential solution and really just come up with all the different ideas. And I tend to start with the most ridiculous ones to lighten you up. And I think that's what's like, you can go do that, right? Like, you can go to the treatment room. Let's have fun with that. But then we really kind of look at all the different creative ways to solve for the problem, which your specific problem was what in that moment?
That I was losing a team member and potentially income.
Right. So we had clients
Yeah.
that were scheduled, and we now had either clients or sales, however you want to look at it, that weren't going to happen if we didn't have somewhere to put them.
Right.
And I think if I remember right, and if not, then we've done this a couple of times with other members. It's like we look at the resources that we already have in the business. For you, you had the team members, right, in addition to you. But it's like, do we have to hire a whole new person, which yes, could take 2 to 3 months to get them up to snuff where those clients could be coming in the door? Or could we look at our current team and see where we might have opportunities? And I think, and I don't remember what you ended up deciding, but I think what we looked at was, well, if one team member could increase 5 hours a week and the other one could increase 10, then we actually more than covered the amount of clients that we needed to fill. So the data was telling us we don't necessarily need to hire, although for stability and security reasons, we probably should, because, you know, our team is fully booked. And so we have no extra wiggle room. So kind of tell me what, as you got that clarity on the data is going to make the decision, we take the meaning out of it. How did that then look over the next couple of weeks as you started to implement some of the strategies that you had uncovered?
I started, just asking my team like, hey, can you cover these? And then once I was starting to get those answers, like, yeah, we can do this for a little bit of time. It kind of eased me a little bit because the panic wasn't there anymore. And the panic had gone away after we had set some ideas out. So that actually allowed me to be able to look into the next steps of the next solutions of what I can do. Okay, so now I have someone who, 2 people who are able to cover those hours that I really needed covered without me going backwards. And now I have the time available to start the hiring process and bringing someone in.
Yes. And what were some of the biggest lessons that you learned from having a team member resign during the holidays, like so that we don't have to hopefully repeat that in the future?
Um, the lessons would be maybe to have a backup plan in order if something like that were to happen again, probably at or a process in place of what will happen when a team member uh, resigns at any point in the year. So, and
Yeah.
hopefully at the busiest point of the year.
Even having a process in place, not just for if a team member resigns, but if you have to end up firing someone, because a lot of people will keep team members on when they're long past their expiration date out of fear
Right.
of dropping those sales. And so even, I don't remember if we've talked about this, but it's like, at what point of how busy your current team members are, do we need to then hire a new person so that we're not always at the point where everybody's at capacity? So if we lose one person, we've lost all the sales because we have nowhere else to put them.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Awesome. What's been your favorite part of the program?
Oh my goodness, there's so many good parts. Let's see. Um, I like the group mentoring because I always leave learning something new. Um, we even if it's something we've touched base about, I come out with maybe more clarity on that topic. So, and here seeing things from a different perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like being a fly on the wall in like every business strategy session that could happen in this industry, because
Yeah.
you may not think to ask certain questions, or maybe that's not something that you're facing right then, but somebody's asking the question. You're like, yeah, what would I do in that situation? And oh yeah, I could go look at those numbers, and even playing with the numbers. And honestly, what I think, if I've noticed from you is when I go in, I feel like at this point, because you've been in this program so long, that you know what numbers I'm going to go mess with on the spreadsheet. It's like, yep, you go adjust the time, you go adjust the sales price, you go adjust operating expenses. And so you kind of learn how to problem solve on your own is my hope and my goal. The more coaching calls that you attend, the more you get immersed in being able to figure out that data on your own without needing the support of the coach or the team.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
What would you say, if you look back at when you joined or right before you joined, to how you're operating your business now, and just even your own personal reflection on the past couple months, what would you say has been the biggest change or the biggest difference for you?
Um, I would say that I have started to not think as emotional and go and look at data points and then um, figure out a solution from there rather than breaking down, being like, I'm going to quit all this. It's not worth it. What am I doing with my life? I should have just become an accountant or something.
Please don't do that. I mean, you can do you, boo, but yeah. So tell me, like, ultimately, when we look at, okay, so we have regulated our emotions a little bit better, is what I'm hearing you say. So it's not that we don't have freakouts, it's just we don't put as much meaning, or we don't go down that path as much. Is that correct? So how does being able to look to data to help inform your decisions on what needs to happen next impacted your life or your business, or both?
It has definitely impacted my my business because there's more, I would say, like regularity on decision making um and how I work with the girls when I come to them and be like, hey, we need to make more sales this month. It doesn't come from a place of panic, it comes from a place of strategy.
Oh, say that again. Say that again for the people in the back. What did you just say?
It does not come from a place of panic, it comes from a place of strategy.
That is so good. Even
Yeah,
like comes from a place, it doesn't come from a place of scarcity, it comes from a place of strategy.
yes. Yes. Ooh, chills.
That was like the best tag. I might steal it. I'll credit you. I'll pay you for that tagline, because it's like, operate your business from a place of strategy, not scarcity.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
knowing the data points, or even getting curious of like, what is the data that is going to tell me what the experience I'm already having is. And I think that's the biggest piece that people miss. They're having an experience already, of a business that's stressful or that's scary or that's losing money, or even on our call today, we had so many people that we were looking at their operating expenses that was outrageous. And they're like, yeah, I don't know where that money went. Well, go look at your bank statements. What did you spend money on? It's not this hidden like whoopsies. It's like you were making decisions along the way, but you didn't have boundaries around it. And now the awareness that this program can help you create around where that money is spent or whether it's a good investment or not. Now you can come from a place of strategy the next time that you're busting out the credit card to go spend money on supplies or a team member or a chandelier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's been great. And in your the spreadsheet, you have a spot where you forecast for the next year. And I have been using that to my advantage. So like I was able to quickly look at where we were at January and where we need to be in January to hit our yearly goal. And I literally just looked and we're going to hit where we need to be in January.
Boom!
So mind blown, was not expecting that this year or this month, especially since we did hire someone in January. We're doing that training process right now. So ultimately we're going to make, not as much money, but we're still hitting our target. And right now I would be like in a corner crying, like, what am I doing?
So this January is better than last January is what I'm hearing.
Yes, it's better than last year. And now I'm like, okay, next month is going to be even better because now we're done training this person. They can start taking on actual clients, even if that's at a discounted rate. Like, we'll be making a profit, so that will cover whatever we might have lost in January. So
that's amazing. Yeah, the biggest things when anybody asks a question in these programs about, how much do I pay a team member, or, do I need to lower my price, or not my price, or how much can I discount? We even talked about that today. Is like, how much can I discount a full set to get people in for my new team member? Do you know what I say? Do you remember what I said? I have to have them look at first. We have to understand what their blank are.
Operating expenses?
The profit goals.
The profit goals. Yes, the profit goals. I'm sorry. We talked about operating expenses.
I was like, let's test it. In order to know what these decisions are, it's like, we got to have the big picture in mind. So what are your sales goals for the year? And what is your profit goals for the year? And then that will help us understand how much we can pay somebody, because we got to have profit in mind in all of our decisions.
Right.
And so you even just sharing, like, this month we are in kind of the final phases of onboarding a team member, maybe month 2. You're in month 2 with her. Is that more or less?
Yeah, we're going into month 2.
Month 2. So we kind of set the expectation that the first month you're not really generating sales off that team member. They're just there to learn the methodology and the way that you do it, and the consultation and the greeting and the checkout and the reveal and the application and all that. So we're not really anticipating much sales coming from that team member. So yeah, you may be taking a loss on the payroll. And that's okay, because by month 2, maybe even in month 3 during their onboarding, we're looking at breaking even, meaning they're getting some paid clients coming in that they're practicing on, but we're not really predicting profitability the way that we will once they're fully trained and onboarded. We are teaching them our ways. Then at the end of that 90 days, they should be producing results and experiences to the Dreamy Days Beauty way. Right. And then we have 6 months, 9 months, a year, multiple years of them producing profit. So we'll take a loss on those first 3 months, knowing we're going to get that long-term return on the investment.
Right.
And I think it stops so many people from even hiring their first team member, because they're looking at how much it's going to cost right off the bat. And what am I going to do? And it's like, there's so many different ways we can work the numbers to make the investment up front and have it pay off further down the road. And even looking at where we can start to cut expenses and increase profitability in the business as it is, without having to have the owner work more to cover those expenses.
Right. And if you're always looking at the negative, you're always going to see a negative result. Or
where have I done that before?
right. That's news to me.
Yes, you will find the evidence in which you seek. So if you have trained your brain, which most of us have in this world, to look for the negative, the scary, the fearful, then you will find evidence of that. Mm-hmm. Or you can train your brain to also look for the positive things of like, cool, yes, it's going to be tight over the next month or 2 to invest in this team member. But by month 3 and 4, very conservatively, a team member can produce about $4,000 a month, very conservatively, very part-time. right? That's $1,000 a week that they're producing in sales. I mean, think about it. If they took, I don't know, 10 clients in a week, which if they're working 20 hours is like half of that, and they're only charging so much, they can make a lot of money and profit in the business. So it doesn't have to be this big. You're hiring somebody full time and they're there 40 hours a week and you have to figure out how to book them solid. It's like start somewhere, start small, 10 hours, 15 hours a week.
Yeah, exactly. And when I first hired someone before your program, I did that just like, hey, this is what I can do. We got to start small. And then as we build, we can grow more. Like there's always room for growth.
Yeah.
So,
So tell me about your experience of, you went the independent contractor route and you kind of hired before we had this program available. So what do you think might have been the difference if you had this program available to you in either one of those options?
I definitely wouldn't have hired someone just because they approached me and was like, hey, can you teach me lashes? And I'd be like, yeah, I can teach you lashes. Oh, okay, I taught you lashes. Well, now it sounds like a good idea for you to just be a part of my team. And by doing that, like I hired someone who didn't necessarily have like the same values, same goals, even the same like work ethic, which through the program, I found a lot of those things are very important to hire based off of. Um, and do think I kind of lucked out with the people that I hired before this program because they are really good, but taking everything I learned to this new hire and this new hiring process, I found someone who I don't foresee any real issue. We have the same values, we have the same vision. She um is dedicated to learning lash extensions and helping the business grow.
Oh, that's a huge statement right there. Just even helping the business grow because it helps her grow too, right?
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. And she wants to be a part of a team. She's not looking to go out on her own. She wants to be with other like-minded people. And I think that's really important because in now everyone's saying, "Oh, you should be your own boss. You should go out on your own." And just says that and says you're going to make all this money being out on your own, but not also like think of the other things that can come with that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, we all as business owners know that there's something called operating expenses when you run a business, that you're not just making all the cash that's coming in. You can make a lot,
yeah,
but it takes some time and some years and some marketing to get to that point.
right.
Talk to me about, oh, there's a question I had. Hold on, let me go back. When you were hiring this new team member, because it's the newest team member that you followed kind of the process and basing your hiring on the mission, vision, and values, which is what we teach to in this program. Tell me about your leadership as you've gotten more structure in your business, as you've gotten more data-based decisions. How do you feel like it's different for you to show up for your team now as opposed to even a year ago?
I feel like I'm seen more as a leader to them opposed to as just like another beauty professional or even a friend. Um and I feel like because they see me as a leader, I show up more as a leader.
Get
Um
more specific, like what that means to you, because leader can be defined individually. So what does it look like to you to be a leader?
yeah, because I would say showing up for them, problem solving, creating solutions, and like um, teaching them different ways to problem solve, so that they can also do it on their own if needed, if I weren't there.
Yeah. Share, I saw you post this in the community the other day. Share what your team sent you when you needed a break.
So I needed a mental break the other day. I went into work knowing that just not feeling the best, but thinking I could push through. And halfway through the day, I was just like, I'm not doing anyone good here. I can just feel like a negative vibe for myself. I don't want that to push that onto anyone else. So I had asked, I was like, girls, I need to head out. I need to get a better headspace. Can you guys handle this? And they're like, yeah, sure, we got this. And then later that day, I said to my one of the girls, and I said, thank you so much for stepping up today. And she texted me and said, of course, sometimes you just need a break. You do so much for us and you need time for you. And I really needed to hear that. Um, because I recognize how much I do for people, but sometimes you don't feel like people recognize that. And for her to tell me that you do a lot for us and it's okay to take time for you, it gave me the permission I didn't know I needed.
Oh my gosh, so good.
Yeah.
I've had this kind of awareness over the past, probably since right after the new year, when I've had more time to invest in myself and my own self-care on a consistent basis. Whereas, just with my kid schedule and all that, I was
Mhm.
struggling with that the past year. And I recognize how much differently I'm able to show up in my business when I do take that time for myself. And it kind of gave me this aha of, wow, the more I take care of myself, the more I can take care of other people. So it becomes less of this martyr kind of belief of like, I'm only as valuable as how much I can pour into others. It's like the more I pour into myself, the more I can give. And the more
Yes.
calm and more regulated I am because I have that time to come down or process my own feelings and emotions. And I'm
Mhm.
so glad that you got that experience of like, they actually want me to take care of myself so that I can take care of them and show up for them. And when we
Right.
are so depleted or burned out or overworked, how much are we really able to pour into others? Yet we think that that's what people want from us is just more, 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 more.
Mhm.
That's what leads to burnout and exhaustion. And like, quite frankly, why I shut the business down years ago. I was like, I got to put my own mask on. Like, to hell with the rest of you. Like, I'm drowning over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we don't make our best decisions when we're exhausted and we're tired and we're coming from a place of desperation. So
And there's no joy in that.
no, no, there's not.
And
There's not.
especially because you got kids. And like, I know a big part of it is you wanting to have flexibility to be able to spend time with kids and spend
Mhm.
time with your family and be present and not just like mommy's half on her phone and like stressed out or like running back and forth, but hey, I'm with my kids. So, check the box kind of a thing. It's like really being present.
Yes. And when you're present with yourself, you can be present in all areas of your life.
Ooh, share more about that. You just kind of blew my mind with that. Tell me more about that.
Ah. I like I know when I take the time to take care of myself, do something that makes me feel good, then I come back to my kids a better person. I come back wanting to do the things that they want to do, even if I don't want to do it. But and then I can go back into work and be more present for my team and be there for them, even if it's just um, showing them a new technique or talking them through a style. Like I can actually answer their questions and listen to them opposed to just kind of giving them the quickest answer that came to mind and going back to what else needs to be taken care of.
Because how much would your team feel like they're burdening you with just more if they have a problem that they feel like she's already stressed enough? I don't want to bother her.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like that's not cool. And who would not many people want to work for someone who feels like they're a nuisance.
Yeah.
Like that they're valuable. Our employees are valuable and I want them to feel valued too.
Yeah, and you have to have the bandwidth to actually value them because if they're like if you created a business where it is solely dependent on you, you have no help, you don't feel like anybody is there to help support you, then yeah, it feels like if somebody is not pulling their weight, they're becoming this burden to you that's
Mhm.
creating more work. And I know, I mean, that's where I lived for years and years and years was just feeling like any request somebody had for me was just gonna break me because I was already overspent. And like I said, to the point of the past couple of weeks, I've had this awareness of like with my kids, with my team, the happier I am, the better version of me they get, and the more drawn to me they will be for me to support them to be happy. Right. And
Mhm.
same thing with students and for your clients. It's like nobody wants to be around somebody who's miserable. Right. And yet we think if we sacrifice so much about ourselves or our time or the things that bring us joy and light us up, or it's all about money, then then someday I'll be happy, but we're missing out on the now. And really all we have is now. And the people in our lives experience us in the now, not what could be someday.
Mhm.
So I want to keep you accountable and you keep me accountable too. Of like, what are we doing to make us happy now? Because then we will draw in and magnetize the things that we want in our life, including happy team members who are also producing sales, who are producing profit. So therefore more money is coming in. Our kids are getting a better version of us and a happier version rather than stressed mommy. But the kids aren't going to understand that you're doing all this work now. So when they're 12 and at soccer games, you can be there. They're experiencing mom now being really stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are the narratives that they're going to have of like, I'm a burden to mom. I need to like walk on eggshells around mom or whatever, because that was me for a while. I was like, I was stressed all the time and work was stressful and everything was stressful. And it's like, give me a break, kids. And it had nothing to do with them,
Right. And they feel our energy. Like we may not be trying to put off that energy, but kids pick up on everything.
They certainly do.
And they keep you, I think they're really good at keeping and holding us accountable too. So
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me what has been the biggest benefit to you as a person in building out a team?
the biggest benefit has been more time with my family for sure. I have been able to step back from the treatment room, so I can be more available for my kids that are now in school. So if they need volunteer, or when they have those like events during the school day, like, oh, we're building gingerbread men like last minute, and like, oh, well, I can go to that now. And even being more present in my relationship with my husband. So it's not just my kids, it's with my husband too. Our relationship has gotten so much better. It's grown. And he's always been supportive of everything I do from day number one. But now I'm not as like grumpy and fatigued and like I'm just trying to make this business survive and coming from a fearful place.
Yeah. Everybody's getting the best version of Dreama, including Dreama.
Yeah, we're all trying. We're trying to keep it there too.
Well, and that's the thing is like you kind of get used to the ebb and flow. And that's why I like the data point, because at least you can identify what the problem is that you're having the experience and then work towards a solution. Maybe you don't solve it right away. And I've been talking to our mastermind, a couple of mastermind members about this. They're implementing stuff because the program's new. So they're seeing things differently. So they're working on solutions. They just don't have it solved yet. But I'm like, you can find peace in that the solution is being worked over time. So like, even with you, maybe your sales are not where they were at before that other team member left, but you're working a new team member to get back to that point. And then also the potential to go beyond that.
Right.
And so it's like, we can have trust and faith and peace in the moment that it's being worked on, instead of that fear where it's like, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know how to fix it. And I'm just worried it's all going to spiral and we're never going to get there. Because that's not fun either.
No,
Yeah.
It's not fun.
So compare 2022. What did you do in sales in 2022 for the whole year for the business?
We did 150,000. Did I say that right? 150,000.
Yes. 50,000. Yes. Okay. So now that you've kind of gone through this program, you've got the team structure in place. What are the 2023 goals for sales?
We are. Our goal is 200,000.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So how confident are you that you're going to reach that goal?
Oh, we're going to reach it. Definitely.
You're already on pace for January, so why not?
Yes. Yeah. So we can go up from here. So, and what I really like with the Google sheet is that I can plan for the slower months instead of panicking like, oh my God, we had a super slow month. Like, what are we going to do? I can be like, oh, we were based off of our data from last year, we were slow this month. So what can we do to either increase sales for the month or know that we're going to make it up in the following month?
Data is so powerful. And yes, to that forecast, it's like now each month the sales goals that you should be aiming for and hitting in order to stay on path for your year. And also, if you don't hit that goal in any certain month, you've got another 11 or 10 months that you can make up. Like if you missed your goal by $500 this month, cool. Like let's add $50 to the next 10 months and we've covered it, right? That's like one fill client. And so it just, again, gives you that solution that you're working rather than the panic. And I think if I'm looking at kind of what that is looking like, you're less reactive in your business and like I said, more strategic.
Yes.
Right. And it's not that scary panic. It's okay. Data point didn't quite match the plan. So now we're going to rework it and we still have time. And there's not this urgency. And I think the urgency that you were facing was like that scarcity, that fear that I'm not going to hit something, or, you know, we're running out of time, or if I don't do it by this date, or what the consequences, as opposed to it's just feedback and we're going to make it better and we're going to do this differently.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. So for anybody who is considering joining the program, building out a team, or has a team and it's just not a well-oiled machine, what advice can you give them about joining the program that might benefit them? Or Dreama of 2 years ago, who was just starting to get on the team building journey, what advice would you have given her to be like, this is the way to go?
It is the way to go, because by joining the Society X, you don't have to do it all on your own. You don't have to figure out what worked and didn't work and just go into everything blindly. It's really mapped out in very easy way to understand, so that you can make a profit off of it in the future, and sooner than you think.
Interesting. Sooner than you think. I like that. Say more. What do you mean sooner than you think?
I think, well, when you invest in something, you don't think you're going to see the return right away. And I know that investing in your program, that I saw the return sooner than I thought, because I was able to understand the finances. I was able to understand the data points. And by doing that, I was able to make better decisions.
Yeah.
And that resulted in me making better decisions instead of poor decisions and scrambling all over the place.
That would have been maybe costly and expensive decisions.
Yes.
Both in the bank account and in your personal emotions and grumpiness.
Yes.
I love that.
Exactly. It was definitely a very safe investment.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I love this program and we are improving it constantly, but the fact that it's drawing in people like you, it's just been such a joy, and it has been so amazing to watch your growth. And I know season 4 of the Mastermind has your name written all over it. And
It is happening. It is happening. It is going to happen.
I'm walking in your spot now.
Please do, because I am doing whatever it takes. I am putting it in my forecasting.
Yes. Oh, I love it. She's already adding in the Mastermind into, I love it, girl. Words my
like, there's so much goodness in just the Society X that I know that there's even more in Mastermind that is 100% worth it.
Yeah. And just for those that don't know the difference. So Society Xcelerator works on the financial, the profitability of the business, the hiring process, and the onboarding process. So it gets you to building out your team member all the way to where they are fully onboarded. The Mastermind covers everything that happens after that. So leadership, management, marketing, and even the mindset and the performance to be able to scale what you have, meaning take what's already working and make it more and more and more, get you out of the treatment room if you're not out of the treatment room, so that you can be operating the business. So we focus on management, marketing, and mindset is heavily what we do in the Mastermind. So I know you're going to be a huge asset in that program next time. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Josh, thank you so much for coming in, or for being on the show. If you guys are interested in learning more about building out a team, hit me up in the DMs. You can DM us #hire on Instagram, and we'll talk about your team challenges, or if you're interested or curious about how to even get started, we can help you with that too. So until we see you next time, have a good one.